Hi everyone, welcome back to another little painting demo. Um, I've just been, well, some of you might know that I've just been on a trip to Vietnam recently, um, and I took a lot of photographs there. So I thought this afternoon I'll do a little bit of pen and ink work in my sketchbook. Now I'm using one of my reference images that I took while I was there in Hanoi, the first place I arrived. Very interesting city, very noisy, very busy, but very interesting. And I took this photograph of these guys working on the street, and they were doing metal work. They had a little mini foundry there, I suppose. They had a what do you call it? A big not a kiln. Well, we melt iron. I can't think of the name right now. But they were working that, and they were bending metal, and they were fabricating, making things, and really interesting it was. Anyway, I took a photograph, and it was too complicated to paint there and then, and the street was too busy. There's nowhere to sit, and I never would have been able to achieve anything there, sat on the street anyway. So I took a picture to paint when I got back in the studio. Now I tend to do a much bigger painting from this at some point, but I thought I'd just get used to it by doing a sketch today. This video shows the whole painting. I'm not going to narrate all the way through it because it's long, and by the end of it you'll be sick of my voice if you watch it all the way through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of speed it up through the pen and ink work until we get to the painting, and then we'll have a chat there about a bit about what I'm doing. Okay, I'm just adding some lemon yellow to around where the fire is now, where they were sort of bending the metal, getting it hot enough to bend. Just some lemon yellow. Then I started on the umbrella in the front with some red, some cadmium red, and a bit of raw sienna in it. I guess they use that on hot days to shield themselves from the sun a little bit. Parts of this video, because obviously it's a long video, I'll speed parts up, so and then when I find something interesting to talk about that I think you might find interesting, I'll slow it down again. Don't forget, if you actually enjoy this video at the end and you want to see more of my videos, give it a thumbs up and like and subscribe. And switch on your notifications, then you'll be alerted every time I put a video on, and you can kind of know when to watch. So I've got the red paint basically, and I'm just going around, and anything that's red I'm doing at this stage instead of having to keep starting with my brightest colours first so I can keep them clean. Now this is inside the foundry. The walls in there were reflecting back from the fire. It was quite warm, so I need to build this up in layers to get that a feeling of the glow of the fire within the room space. So this is just the first wash. It looks a bit flat, and people might wonder what's going to happen. But when we get the darker washes in later, that should come to life. Well, it does come to life a little bit. But this is just a sketch to the sketchbook. It's not a full-blown painting, so. But it gives us an idea of what's going on. Okay, I'll speed it up a bit now to the next part. Now I'm just adding some, that's a glass window there, there's a doorway, and at the background there was a warm light behind it, but it was very subtle. So I'm just adding some warm colour to that, and I'll add some darker colour later. This was the green door. There's everything out there, strangely, is just built on. I think as they go along, they just add a little bit, and there's no sort of consistency, if you like. But it's great for painting. The buildings out there are just really interesting to paint. But it's not easy to paint on the street because they live on the street basically. They kind of like eat on the street. They socialise on the street. So I'm just adding a bit more colour to the fire. I'm just going to lift out a little bit. I'll probably have. I kind of put too much in. I wanted to keep the centre white, or as close to white as possible. So I'm now trying to lift out a bit of colour, but it's not that successful to get back. But it came out a little bit. So just lifting it out with a damp brush. Soon we can start adding some darks, and when we start adding some darks, things start to come to life a little bit more. But if you've never tried this pen and ink drawing, you should give it a go, because it's a really nice way. And if you're not confident to go directly into your book with a pen, just sketch it out with a pencil first, and then just lightly go over, then go over it with a pen. Just sketch lightly with your pencil to give yourself an idea of where you need to be. But for some reason, pens seem very forgiving. You can kind of go wrong, but for some reason it still looks okay. I don't know quite why. But I made plenty of mistakes in this drawing. But it still turned out reasonably okay. Okay, I'll just speed up a bit to the next interesting part. I'll speed up 2 times, and so you can still see what's happening, but it won't go too fast. Okay, we're getting to the final stages now, and we're going to start adding the real darks, and that should really help that fire come to life a bit. But you can see it's taken possibly 3 or 4 layers there to build that up, to get the depth of colour and the effect I wanted. I'm quite pleased with it. But I've got to resist the temptation to keep fiddling with it, because it's very easy to overwork things, and then all of a sudden it's just one brush stroke and it can kind of think, oh my god, what have I done? But as we talked about the other day regarding sort of artist block, we don't care about that, do we? Because the less you care about it, the less often it will happen, I think. So it's just a question of Toby just having a little bark there at somebody. So it's just really a question now of just adding all the darks in, and it's quite easy. If you ever go at these pen inks, they're worth doing, because once you've done the drawing, it's a bit just like painting in a colouring book. For some reason, it seems an awful lot easier, because I think you've got the structure of the pen. It does when you're painting just a pencil drawing. Once you've made those dark lines with a proper pen, with a sort of a waterproof, make sure you've got a waterproof one. Once you've got those lines down, the painting is relatively simple. So it's worth having a go. You can do a more simple subject, but buildings are fantastic in pen. It works really well. So give it a go. I'm sorry I had to speed some of this up. Narrating it all for an hour was too long. I've got quite a lot on at the moment. I'm actually preparing a new watercolour course, beginner's watercolour course at the moment, which should be ready in about a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm doing a lot. So I'm having to I still want to produce videos for YouTube, because I appreciate everybody's comments and feedback. So I want to keep producing for YouTube, but I'm just having to make the videos a bit shorter or speed them up at the moment, because I haven't got the time to do the editing and narration, really, because it takes a long time, because you have to keep stopping and starting, and it all takes time. But I think just by watching this video, you can get an awful lot out of a painting like this, just by watching how somebody paints something. Not everything has to be explained in detail. Just finding the last places for the darks. Don't forget, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and turn your notifications on, because if you do that, you'll be notified every time I put a video on. Thanks very much for watching. I'll let you watch the last piece of this in peace and quiet. It's pretty obvious what I'm doing now. I'm adding the last darks and just try and put it all together. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I do appreciate you watching the videos, and thank you all for all your lovely comments on YouTube. I'm overwhelmed sometimes by the comments people make. It's really kind. So anyway, thanks for watching.